Hey everyone, welcome back to Together We Are Thursdays. This week we're talking about relapse and how to handle it. I want to focus on the psychology of relapse and how the psyche perpetuates it at times. And it can be, as the girls have said, like one slip, right? Like one lapse becomes this perpetual excuse to completely immerse or to completely relapse. Personally, in my experience and in my research knowledge, I tend to think of it as like remission versus activation more. I just personally don't think there's a cure. I think one must learn to manage and may have periods of remission where thoughts die down to barely a whisper in the back of your head and you're able to override it and follow your meal plan exactly and get through those patches. If you are feeling deeply triggered, try to evaluate why. But I think the number one thing is be gentle with yourself. It's not easy. It can be frustrating as hell. It can be frightening. It can feel like a reversal of all your progress. Again, we tend to think in these black and white absolutes, and it's not true. If you regress, it doesn't mean you're all the way back at ground zero and have to start this journey over again. It doesn't work that way. If you can make yourself do it, and this is the thing, if you can make yourself do it, review old things that helped you, reasons to recover, tools that work, music, getting out of the house, calling somebody that's your special go-to person 24/7, whatever. Talk to your therapist, whatever works for you. It doesn't always work, but that's why it's so important to have a solid support network. Sometimes you can't pull yourself out. And it does take somebody else to stand up to that voice and be like, no. Regardless of which side of that thin red line you are on between overeating, pathology, and health, I'm trying to find balance on that line, but depending on which side you're on, the other side takes on this dreamlike recollection quality. We tend to synthesize the experience as a vague thing in the past or surreal like a dream. It doesn't feel real, if you know what I mean. But yeah, depending on which side of the line you're on, the other side is going to feel like a mist-covered netherworld of vague recollection. And this is the dilemma. When you're sick, you can't fathom being free of the bad thoughts. You can't fathom breaking the rituals and surviving. When you're healthy, especially after a bad time sick, it doesn't feel real. It feels like it was a dream or in another lifetime that you were sick. It's part of the way the mind protects us. So it's really important to recognize that as well, that depending on which side you're on, your perspective is completely different. So yeah, in a stable place it's really easy to say what you should do, but it's a lot more difficult in reality, and I just want to mention that because I don't want to give viewers the false sense that you should just know, and you should just know better, and you should just be able to rely on. It's not an easy thing at all. Not that anybody was implying that at all. I just wanted to voice that thought that it is normal and to be expected that these things are difficult. I'm always talking about Stephen Levenkron. He's like the father of modern anorexia treatment. He's written a ton of books. He has very clearly articulated this tendency for people to spend a great deal of time in stable recovery, and then at some other phase of life they may have a relapse. The most common seems to be sufferers who were young children, teenagers, or young adults. Recover, be stable, and then some midlife event or prior to that, especially in women, getting pregnant can trigger relapse because body changes bring back a whole bunch of stuff. It happens. It doesn't mean that you're bad or that you're doing something wrong or that you haven't done enough. I mean, all of these thoughts are going to take a long time to deconstruct, but that it can be done. Compassion for self. One of the things that helps a lot with that when you're trying to think about how do I be nice to myself or give myself any kind of recognition for good things, do an empathic exercise. How would you respond to somebody you love in the same situation? Like, say you found yourself skipping meals and felt the euphoria of restriction again and really didn't want to get back on the journey to healing in a proactive manner. If this was your best friend or your significant other or somebody you dearly love and it happened to them, would you be thinking of them as a failure and a loser and a weakling and not good enough? Absolutely not. Idly says, I know when you don't feel good. I can whine and tilt my head and be cute. Yes, you're so cute, baby. You're so cute. They know. They totally know. You look up, dang it, what is it? It's a study from the Netherlands with puppies that little Sheltie dogs, I think it was. Puppies that were given to eating disorder sufferers that helped them because animals are so in tune with body language. They know when you're not well, and their behavior and their reaction can be an important cue to how you're doing, and often can warn you very much earlier on than you or somebody else might perceive. So therapy animal might be a really good option to stay strong. My dream vacation would be to go to the Galapagos Islands. I would love to see the Darwinian finches, which helped him come up with his theory of evolution. My stepmom is banned. She loved it. Also, the marine life out there is incredible. Really cool stuff. Much love and be well, precious ones. See you next week.